Welcome back to my channel, guys. Thanks for all the people who have subscribed. Today I want to talk about corruption within Jamaica, and I will let you know right off the bat, this channel is not about stroking your ego. You are free to believe whatever you want to believe. However, I like to stick to things that can be researched or can be proven as close to the facts as is possible. Like, I'm not saying that everything is going to be something that I go and research, but I'm going to try to stick as close to things that are researchable as is possible. So let's talk about corruption, because today I saw a video of people protesting in Jamaica about massive corruption in government and that kind of thing. Okay? So from the international perspective, let's take it from the international perspective. How much corruption is there really in Jamaica now, and how does it compare to previous years before? So what I did was I went on to transparencyinternational.org, which is an international organization that ranks countries based on how much corruption is perceived to be in that country, right? So I take a look at what corruption was in Jamaica before and what corruption is now. I looked at, for instance, in 2012, Transparency International, right, Corruption Index ranked Jamaica as the 83rd country in terms of corruption out of 182 countries. Now, the higher you are up in the ranking, as you get closer to the numbers 1 and 2, it means that you have less corruption in your country, right? So in 2012, we ranked right at 83 with a score of 38 points. They add the points up each year, and based on the points, the different points of corruption in society, then you get a number, and that number results in a ranking. Now in 2012, as I said, we were ranked right at 83, which means that we are within the upper 50 percentile of countries that does not have as much corruption as we think. All right. Now, in 2025, which is the last time they put out these statistics, Jamaica is ranked at 73. We jumped 10 places up. With a score, we scored 44 and we jumped 10 places up. We have less corruption in the country than we did in 2012. That is what the statistics is saying. International organizations have looked at Jamaica and they're saying that corruption in Jamaica is going down, and therefore Jamaica is moving up in ranking in the world because we are getting rid of corruption. Now, this is out there for people to research. Like I said, it's transparencyinternational.org. You can look it up online, or you could just type in corruption perception index, and you will see these statistics. You just have to search for the year that you're looking for and to see what corruption is perceived to be in Jamaica in each of those years. These rankings, they are scales that are designed to give a depiction of what something is in a society, and not all scales work the same. For some scales, like I was explaining in a previous video about unemployment, when it's low, it is good. In this case, this scale, the higher up you are in ranking, closer to 1 and 2, then the better it is for you. It means that you're ranked closer to countries that have little or no corruption, right? And no corruption is the perfect scenario, but there isn't a single country in the world that doesn't have any corruption at all. Even the country at number 1 does have some amount of corruption, which is why they still have to be scored and measured to be placed in the number one ranking as the country with least corruption in the world, right? There are many, many countries in the Caribbean that are ranked below us. For instance, Trinidad and Tobago is ranked below us because they are perceived by international organizations to have more corruption. Guyana is below us. Colombia is below us. Mexico is below us. I don't remember exactly what number they fall on in the list, but the fact is that they are perceived internationally to have way more corruption than Jamaica. And it's shown that Jamaica is actually moving up in ranking. We are getting rid of corruption. So for me to see a protest now in Jamaica about corruption, it's saying the opposite of what the international organizations are saying. Because if there wasn't a protest in the 2010, 2011, 2012 for corruption, when corruption was at a high, why is there a protest now? It seems that some of these protests are organized basically just for political points. Because anybody who is out here, any person who is out here, intelligent person who understands how these things work, they would know that this is not a time for protest. And so you can understand why people are moving back to Jamaica, because corruption is down. There is, where we have less corruption than ever before. Crime is down in the country. So that's another thing. The economy is growing, and all of the indicators are saying that Jamaica is currently on the right path. And we see people out here that is bringing down the country, saying all these negative things about Jamaica, while the international organizations are saying a completely different thing. In fact, the IMF is now encouraging countries to learn from Jamaica's ability to get rid of debt and to actually create a reserve system. I am not the only one that's saying this. You can see people talking about it all over social media. And when I say people, I don't mean local people in Jamaica, because we are our greatest critics. Even when things are going good in the country, we will still claim that it's the worst it has ever been. But I'm talking about, like, for instance, you can see people doing interviews with the IMF. Even Mark Shields, the guy that was once, the British guy that's in Jamaica, right? That was in charge of the police force at one point. He is in England doing an interview, and he's saying England needs to become like Jamaica, right? You see people in Trinidad and Tobago doing interviews and talking about the model that Jamaica has presented in terms of how the economy is being developed, in terms of how we are growing, in terms of how we are actually creating a reserve and all that kinds of stuff. So, like I said, I am definitely going to be dropping some of the statistics from the corruption index in this video so you can see for yourself, right? I'm going to do some screenshots from the transparencyinternational.org website, and so you can see it from yourself. And like I said, these things are researchable. It means that you can research them on your own, and you can see what the international community thinks about Jamaica. And so you won't wonder why it is now at this point that people are trying to move back to Jamaica. The Jamaican consulates all over the United States are practically inundated now with applications of people who want to claim their Jamaican citizenship because their mother was Jamaican or their father was Jamaican, and people applying for Jamaican citizenship. And there is a reason for that. The country is not as bad as it may seem, even though people will always criticize us, and even though we'll always criticize ourselves, and that it's a good thing that we're being criticized. What we don't want is, we don't want rumors that are not based in fact, that will destroy the country and create a bad reputation for us out here. Because if our reputation is bad, then it's going to reduce the amount of tourists come to the island. It's going to reduce the amount of people that wants to invest in Jamaica. It's going to cause a whole heap of problems for the country. And so we want to expose some of these things to let you know that even though you're in Jamaica, it is not as bad as it may seem. We are looking at it from a completely different lens out here. The international community is seeing it from a completely different lens. And so you have to give the country some time to grow some more, because it's a potential. Everybody's looking at Jamaica as a potential to be the next Dubai or the next Singapore. Do you know what that would mean for Jamaicans? Singapore has the strongest passport in the world. They can enter almost any country in the world without a visa. So think if Jamaica should grow to that level where we can do the same, where Jamaicans have no reason for leaving their country or for going anywhere else, then that would just be a good thing for the country. Like I said, thanks for tuning into my channel. And if you like what I'm explaining, subscribe to the channel. We'll talk about more concepts like this in the future. Thanks again for tuning in. See you on the next one.